YouTube? It's your boy Zay Reacts. In this video I got for y'all, we got the 5 natural disasters that's just waiting to happen, you know? Natural disasters happen naturally. Can't prevent them. It just happens, you know? I've lived through I lived through a lot of natural disasters, but the major ones is only hurricanes, and that's like maybe 5 of them I lived through. I'm not gonna list them all, but you know, over time, the most recent one was obviously Hurricane Harvey, and then I lived through a bunch of like floods and thunder or like tropical storms and stuff like that. Nothing really bad except for the hurricanes. But I'm not gonna hold you no longer. I'm not gonna keep this intro too long. Let's get right to the video.
So it really seems like 2020 has been nothing but one disaster after the next, and
Yes.
we're not even halfway through the year yet.
Well,
Society has
we are
weathered
now.
wildfires, volcanic
I don't know what that
eruptions,
was.
and obviously the coronavirus. What could possibly be next? Well, as it turns out, the worst may still be yet to come.
That don't sound good at all.
There are plenty of imminent disasters.
Oh, I know. We got
waiting on the
global
horizon,
warming coming for
and
sure.
with the way that 2020 has been going, this just may be the year we see countries ravaged by terrible natural events, from earthquakes to volcanoes and so much more.
And there was a recent volcano eruption in like I forgot where it was, but then didn't like North or South Carolina just had an
Here
earthquake
are
not
5
too long ago?
natural disasters that are simply
And then a volcano. I think it was like
waiting to
in somewhere in New Zealand over there.
A lot of attention gets paid to
Drought?
the San Andreas fault line.
Oh.
It runs nearly the entire length of California, and people wait on bated breath for when the big one will finally strike. However, there is another fault line not too far away that people in the western United States should keep just as close of an eye on. The Cascadia subduction zone runs for about 700 miles along the coast of the Pacific Northwest. It begins around Cape Mendocino in California, continues through Oregon, and ends at about Vancouver Island in Canada. The reason why this stretch of land is referred to as a subduction zone is due to the fact that part of the region has one tectonic plate sliding underneath another one. Tectonic plates are responsible for rearranging the planet's continents, and while their movements are generally slow and harmless, occasionally the areas where these borders meet can be deadly. There is
That's an
a
earthquake.
very real possibility that the Cascadian subduction zone could give way all at once. If that were to occur, then that region of the United States could experience an earthquake with a magnitude between 8.7 and 9.2. Not only that, but a
Tsunamis.
significant event within the subduction zone would displace a tremendous amount of seawater. This water will surge in all directions. Some will head toward Japan, but the majority will hammer the American Northwest. The water will cover approximately 140,000 square miles of land,
That's
including
scary.
major cities like Seattle, Portland, and Olympia. It would be
Wow.
the single worst natural disaster to have occurred in the history of the United States. Some projections indicate that up to 13,000 people would lose their
Oh,
lives during
man.
this event,
That's-
with thousands more suffering.
I didn't expect him to
injuries.
just
Plus,
say that out of
over
nowhere,
a
like-
million people would be displaced. It
That's
wouldn't be
sad.
the first time
That's
such
sad.
an
Hopefully
event
that
occurred.
never happens
Research
anytime
shows
soon.
that the fault line created a magnitude 9.0 earthquake in the year 1700. Scientists suggest there is a 300 to 500 year window in which another major Cascadia event will occur. So we're already in the middle of a potentially cataclysmic event. Who knows if it will happen 100 years from
So
now
it's like
or
that?
in a couple of months.
Oh, I hope it's not. I hope it never comes anytime soon at all.
Located on the southern flank of Kilauea
Dude, that's
is the
scary.
Helena Slump. This area extends
You can't
down
prevent that,
toward
you
the
know?
sea,
It's
and
just-
it's
it just
sliding
happens.
little by
It's crazy.
little with each passing year. It's currently moving at about 4 inches per year. However, if an event were to occur to cause the slump to slide entirely in the ocean, it could have catastrophic consequences to the surrounding area. The massive slide could potentially generate a large earthquake, and with such a massive earthquake occurring in the vicinity, it could generate a mega tsunami with waves measuring 1,000 feet across the Hawaiian Islands. While Hawaii would bear most of the brunt of the damage, it's possible California would be unable to get out of this situation unscathed. If the waves were big enough, then they could travel hundreds of miles per hour and hit the Golden Coast. As recently as 1975, slight movement from the Helena slump created a smaller but still somewhat destructive tsunami that managed to reach California, and that was a small one. The big one, as it were, could perhaps cause a lot more destruction on the continental United States. Scientists are fairly certain such a major event will not occur for several more millennia, but under the right conditions, it could occur within our lifetimes.
Well, I mean, I don't live in California. It won't affect me, but I don't. That's still crazy.
It's not just the western United States that's in danger. The eastern side of the country also faces the risk of a tsunami due to the Cumbre Vieja volcano. Scientists have found that the island of La Palma could collapse at some point in the future due to a volcanic
Tsunamis travel that far?
Cumbre Vieja volcano.
That's like the coast of Africa all the way to like east coast of the United States. That's a long
occurred in 1949.
like
So it may be a while
travel,
until this event actually happens, but with no way to really predict when volcanic eruptions
but that one
will
wave,
occur,
that one tsunami traveled 100,000 miles, so
when
or
this
would they
volcano
estimated to
does
travel
erupt,
100,000
the
miles?
western flank of the volcano would slide downward into the Atlantic Ocean. As the flank slid down, powerful earthquakes would happen around La Palma, and all the criteria would be in place for a massive mega tsunami to take place. The waves would move
Africa
westward
would get hit
toward
too,
the
then.
Caribbean, the Bahamas,
Yeah, I
and
was
the
about to say,
eastern United States.
Caribbean,
Data is still being
Cariba.
gathered, with some projections showing the waves from this tsunami could only be about 30 feet in height, while other projections show that they could get as high as 300
I was trying to say Cuba
feet.
and
The
stuff
good
like
news
that, but
is that if such an event were to occur, the eastern states would have some time
I
to
gave up on
prepare.
it.
The
I gave up on
United States Tsunami Warning Center would start monitoring the size of the waves from a system of buoys in the Atlantic Ocean. This would give people in the
some
eastern
good, like,
states about a couple
that's
of
some good
hours.
like science technology now that we have. Because at least we can't prevent the natural disasters, but we can help. But we can like see when it's gonna come, you know, and like when it's gonna, how powerful it is, and you know we can at least estimate everything, you know, which is better than not knowing at all.
Hours to head as far west as possible to avoid any destruction.
That was
The next big threat to
Roman
happen
number
to the
2.
planet may not come from water or the sky.
Oh.
It could
Oh,
very
we're
well
counting
come from the
backwards.
sun
Okay.
itself. According to a 2012 article from Wired, Earth has about a 12% likelihood of suffering from a massive mega flare from the sun within the next 10 years. Since that article came out 8 years ago, that may mean it's time for us to undergo a cataclysmic event that would cost trillions of dollars to recover from. These
Ew.
kinds of solar storms are rare. Every 12 years or so, the sun goes through a phase known as solar maximum, which is then followed by a solar minimum. As the sun transitions from one state to the other, it gives way for coronal mass ejections to rip holes through the sun's magnetosphere. These tears in the star's outer layer release huge quantities of charged particles and radiation that head toward Earth. Coronal mass ejections typically create the ideal conditions for heightened geomagnetic activity, which can lead to greater prominence of aurora lights on our planet. However,
Hopefully
it's
not for years.
all just pretty lights. It also has the power to knock out our communication satellites and create massive, widespread power blackouts.
Wow.
These kinds of events have become precedent. A geomagnetic storm
The world
occurred
would
in
go insane if that happened.
1989 that collapsed Canada's Hydro-Quebec power grid in just 90 seconds. This left millions of people without power for 9 hours. However, a longer disruption could
When
lead
was
to
that?
problems in communication,
Was it- you said the
transportation,
70s? I didn't see it.
finance, and banking systems. Distributing potable
I think
water
it's
and
the 70s.
perishable
I don't know.
foods
That's-
could prove troublesome. Naturally, these are worst-case scenarios.
you put the whole United
but they're
States
all
on a
within the
blackout.
realm of possibility. If it doesn't happen in 2020, it could very well happen at some point in the future.
Well, yeah, probably.
The
Number 1.
Lake Toba supervolcano has already impacted the planet once before. About 74,000 years ago, the volcano erupted in Indonesia, and a layer of ash about 6 inches thick was able to spread.
That volcano has not erupted in 75,000 years.
While there is some scientific debate over how much the eruption impacted humanity's evolution, one thing was clear. This was a huge event, and under different conditions, it could have potentially wiped out humanity before we even got a chance to get started. As it turns out, we may not be out of the clear just yet. Research indicates the volcano's magma-generating engine remains active. That means the huge magma reservoir underneath the caldera continues to grow, and when it erupts again, it could be just as big as the one all those years ago. For the time being, scientists are confident another eruption won't happen for thousands of years, but they are still keeping a close eye on the Sumatra fault line. If this fault line, which runs through Mount Toba and bisects the island, were to become active yet again, it could reawaken the magma chamber early.
So there was an earthquake to happen. That volcano is definitely
surprise event. The only
exploding.
solution would be a mass evacuation of the surrounding area. Of course, there is no need for panic just yet. In fact, if you want to learn more, then be sure to check out our video covering this eruption in much more detail. The world we live in is full of strange surprises, some good and some bad. Let's just hope that the rest of 2020 is only full of good surprises.
Yes.
Because honestly, we deserve it at this point.
Yeah,
Be sure to click the link on the screen to
we've had a rough 2020. But that's the end of the video. Comment down below for me some natural disasters that you may have lived through, whether it's hurricane, earthquake, floods, dust storms, I don't know. Just anything that's not natural disaster and you survived it. Wow. Natural disaster. And tell me how everything went, you know. Was it good, everything okay? But make sure y'all leave a comment. Make sure y'all give this video a thumbs up. Beat that thumbs up button. Subscribe to the channel. And share the video with somebody. Just share the video with somebody. That's all I really want y'all to do. Make this video go around, you know. But other than that, that's all I got for y'all for right now. Till next time, deuces.